And it always apparently says it goes live before I get there. So we could very well already be there. Just gonna throw that out there. It's the fun stuff. Still loading. Okay, I'm gonna go over on my other page. This is the fun part. There's like that 5-second delay, which makes it so much fun. Okay, yay. All right, here we go. See, now that we've got the reverb, which is always good. Let's see if I can expand it. Okay. Hi, Ariel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's live again. Okay. How's it going? How are you feeling?
It's going good. I'm feeling good too. How's everything by you?
I'm super excited. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight, and I think it's well, you know, they don't even know what they're in for tonight. So I'm very, very, very excited to kind of share with everybody the amazingness that is coming. So let's do a brief kind of this is what's happening thing so that people kind of know what we're doing. So Ariel, I'm going to let you kind of talk about yourself here a little bit. Ariel and I know each other through friends, which I'm very, very grateful for. She is super handy. She is very, very talented, and she has helped me with 2 projects now. The one has been kind of put on the back burner, but the other one will be kind of showing. Hi, Crystal. So super excited to do that. But Crystal, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you're a virtual assistant, but you're also a cover designer. So jump in.
Yes. So I did a lot of graphic work in my previous job, and when that kind of came to an end, I decided to step into like the business side of helping authors out, and then cover designing was one of the first things that I looked into and kind of started. And then becoming the virtual assistant kind of came after that, where I help with like admin tasks and other things like that, like social media. So
you probably already know this, but a lot of authors don't do really well with the admin tasks and everything else. So there's kind of a high needs in that field, isn't there?
Yeah. I think a lot of authors don't even know that they can get an assistant either. So they try to muck through it as best that they can, but we do exist. So
we will, if you want to throw your stuff in the comments, Ariel, for people that want to get in touch with you, please do that. Jolene says, hello, ladies. And Cody says, hi. And my mother, God love her, she's like, Mom is here. So, hi, Mom. No, Ariel's wonderful. And like I said, she had been very kind. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, okay, let's do an indie series. And I came to her with an idea, and she made these beautiful covers. So I'm going to eventually have to actually write those stories, you know.
Yes, I would love to see them.
Me too. Storm says hi, and she's sending Levy smiley faces. Thank you, Storm. So I knew when I got my rights back to this series that you covered now, hi Lizzie, that I wanted to give them a completely different look. You know, I was going to go in and add some stuff, right? Because I think I don't know, when you do or when you've bought reissues, normally they have new stuff, right? It's not just the same. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I know I want to add some kind of like scenes that were cut, and I want to really change the look, because this series is, the covers are beautiful. Love the original covers, don't get me wrong, but it didn't quite give me the Hollywood vibe that we were looking for. So I'm going to show you the original covers, which this is actually the first series I ever published. So this is kind of a big deal, and it's almost been 10 years, believe it or not. They came out in 12. Yeah, so almost. We're just a little bit short. So this is the first one. This is Hollywood Ever After. And this is Josh and Claire, and it's a wonderful kind of May, December. She's the December. Woo-woo, older lady. And he's the movie star. And then the second one was Hollywood Holiday. And it's the actress and the Marine, and he has a big secret, and that's really cool. And then this is the last one. This one was Hollywood Homecoming, and it is the sister of the hero in the first one. Super, super sweet love story. So, and I love, like I said, love the covers, but I knew that when I reintroduced them, because these don't exactly say, I don't want to say sexy, but the books definitely are a little steamier, than so these are, and unfortunately, I probably should just share my screen because this is not going to do them justice, but these are my new covers. Aren't they beautiful? I'm going to get a little closer so you can see them. I am so in love with these covers. All right, Ariel, tell us why you went with these, or what were you thinking when you kind of came up with it? Because I told you, Hollywood, you had the vibe. So,
a lot of the time when I start designing a cover or even graphics for different authors, I go and I look in the genre and I kind of get a feel of what other authors have done. Because obviously, when it comes from a marketing standpoint, you want to make sure that your readers know what genre it is, what they're going to get based on the cover. So from there, it was just taking the images you had picked out and kind of tweaking them and playing with them a little bit. Going with the red because we really wanted to go with like the whole red carpet vibe.
Yeah.
Given that their subtitle is the Red Carpet series, and you had wanted the glow on the Hollywood too, and like I was thinking about it, and it kind of reminded me of almost like those, like the Hollywood lights itself, and then like, the actresses who have like the big vanities and the old-timey kind of thing with the lights around them. So that was something I kind of wanted to embody with that glow too. So
yes. No, I think you nailed it. Again, I will, after we're done, I'll go in and actually post each cover individually so they can see them, because it just isn't doing justice, but they're beautiful, and I'm so excited. I'm so, so excited. So we have a couple questions for you already, Miss Ariel. So it was basically, how did you get into cover design, which we kind of touched on again, but did you always know that you wanted to do covers for books?
No, actually I didn't. So, like I said, when I was first kind of getting into the world after my previous job, I was kind of looking at different things and seeing what people needed and what authors were looking for. And book covers came up on Facebook, actually, because I would see a lot of people looking for covers to be made for their indie published books. So I started kind of like looking around with that, playing around with it. I did pre-mades even, where I can, all I have to do is, change out the title and the author name and that kind of stuff.
Well, I think it's a good way to get your foot in the door. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was actually my first kind of step into it. And then going from there was actually authors who wanted custom designs like you. So.
Well, you know what you're doing. I'm just saying. So I'm going to read comments because I'm loving the love that we're getting for this. So let's see. Lizzie, I am loving, all caps, these new covers. Me too, Lizzie. They make me very happy. Lisa says hi, hello. Oh, Storm does more smiley faces, all caps. Love those covers. Cody, who I will have to tell my Cody story in a minute, but he said they do the series justice. I think so too, Cody. They make my heart very happy. Jeannie says, gorgeous new covers. Bravo, Ariel. Woohoo. And Jolene says, I'm so excited about adding these to my collection. Me too. Yes. We will be sending them to print, obviously, so that we can have more beautiful tactile things to hold in our hands. I can't wait. It's just super exciting. Now, these won't be actually out probably until mid to end of June, but I couldn't wait anymore. Ariel and I have been talking about doing this since what? Valentine's Day?
Yeah, a little bit before that, because we wanted to do it for Valentine's Day, and then, Texas is like,
and then,
no.
Snowmageddon did.
Yep.
And it was like the world kind of came to a standstill for a while. Lisa says they're so pretty. I love them. I think they're great covers too. So thank you for coming in now. My goal, fingers crossed, because today is March 9th. So in 3 months, it will be my birthday, June 9th. I would love to release them on my birthday. I think that would be so much fun. So
that would be.
Now it's up to me to get the edits done. No pressure. No pressure.
We believe in you.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, somebody asked, and you kind of answered it already, but what made you to decide to go with the Hollywood glow look? I kind of already said that.
Like I said, you had been looking for the kind of, you had sent the example of a glow on a font. And I kind of took that and ran with it a little bit. And like I said, I kind of wanted to give like that Hollywood sign feel and sort of like the vanity light bulbs kind of feel. So.
And you nailed it. I'm going to hold one of my, Crystal said, do you ever see something that you think I need to use that in cover design? That's a good point.
All the time. So I have, this is kind of background type, like as a cover designer. I have a stock subscription to Adobe Stock. So whenever I'm scrolling through things and I see like really cool pictures, I'm like, that would be really awesome for like a book cover and things like that. And like sometimes I'll buy them and kind of play with them, like tweak, just to kind of up level my own skills and to see these covers and maybe sell them as like a pre-made or something like that later on.
I have to share with you that there has been one or two times when, because I'll go out and I'll look at covers right online. Or someone will take a class and be like, oh my gosh, have you heard of this cover designer? So of course, I go and down the rabbit hole, I go and look at all their pictures. Mm-hmm. There have been 2 different covers that I have seen that made me want to write a story that I had never thought about before. So mm-hmm. I get it. When you see something and you're like so inspired. I think that's the power though. That whole saying about you can't judge a good book or a book by its cover. That's so not true. It's not. I buy books all the time because of pretty covers, so
book covers are like your first marketing. It really is, because when a person picks up the book, the first thing that they're going to look at is the cover. Right. They don't look at the back or like the inside flap for the blurb or anything like that. It is literally the cover.
Exactly. I was going to say the cover and word of mouth. So if I know somebody who reads the same stuff I do and they're like, oh my God, you have to read this book. I just one click it because,
just buy and done. Yeah,
exactly. Crystal has another one. What is a book that you chose to read because of the cover? Oh, I choose books and wine based on the covers quite often. So I am enjoying hearing some of the behind the scenes that goes into the designing. Yes. And Madison says a cover will sell me too. No question. I totally agree. Okay. There was the Prisoner's Wife was one of the most recent ones that I just bought because the graphic on the front, I'm a huge fan of tragic romance. I will throw that out there. And this was like this just gorgeous picture and you could just feel all the tension off of it. And I also bought, we talked about it in one of my book clubs, but the cover sold it for me was, The Wedding Date Mistake. I think it's one of Avery Flynn's new ones. And the cover on it was great. What about you, Ariel?
Thinking about it recently, The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. So it's a really simple cover, mm-hmm. but it's sort of that matte black and it's got like a gold foil constellation design.
Okay.
It's illustrated kind of, and like that just minimal is always like my thing. It's my aesthetic. I love it. So it's always what I gravitate towards too. And then I haven't read the book yet, but I did just automatically buy it because of the cover, All the Stars and Teeth. So that was one that I'm really excited to get into as well.
I think it's dangerous when you buy them from the cover, though, because there's so many pretty covers out there. I mean, there are. Jeannie said yes, but covers are the first impression, definitely. Cody. Oh, my gosh, this should be a quote. You might need to ask him if you can use this for your business, Ariel. Covers are the bows that make me want to open the present, the book. That is like, dude, this is okay. So quick Cody story. And I don't know if I've ever told Cody this or not, but I was at one of my very first, obviously, this is my first series book signings. And you don't know this necessarily. It's kind of the sad side of being an author, but people sometimes just don't show up for book signings, especially when you're like brand new, right? And I'd only had a couple of books out there. And so I was sitting there and this guy walks into Barnes and Noble and he's like, oh my God, it's Sasha Summers. And I was like, I thought he was making fun of me because here I am by myself at this table. And I was like, hi. I just love Claire and Josh. And I was like, wait. He really knows my characters' names. And I was like, what? And then he proceeds to talk to me about my characters. He's one of the first people that wasn't related to me or wasn't already a friend, right? Because those are the people that obviously read your stuff first, who had actually invested and like loved these characters. So the fact that he is still here with me today just touches my heart. And he was so excited. So as soon as I got the covers, he's the only person that got an inside sneak peek. Because as soon as we finalized him, I sent him to him. I was like, okay, Cody, I know you love this series almost as much as I do. So, and he was like, yes, this is perfect. So,
Well, I'm glad that he really likes them as well.
Me too. Me too. No, so far I've not had anybody that wasn't like, oh my God, these are great. Because I think you just nailed it. And you were talking about the lights again. I know it's a bad, but the middle one, the sequel, the Hollywood Holiday, I think you can see it in the background. It is those kind of bright, vibrant lights. No, I mean, everything about these covers is Hollywood, and it's got the kind of the glamour aspect, and I think a little bit more of an obvious steamy look, I think, because these are by no means like erotica, but they're definitely some steamier romance. So, oh, Cody sent a whole bunch of hearts, and Jolene said yes. I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So, what is the last book that you read, Ariel, that you wish you had done the cover for?
Oh, goodness.
Let me just throw you under the bus there really quick.
Yeah. I'm currently working through the Bridgerton novels.
Oh, classic. Yes.
Yes. And I guess I got them through the library because I couldn't wait, and they were available immediately, so I grabbed them all, and they're currently sitting for me to read them. And the one in the library had the Netflix Daphne and Simon.
Yeah.
And I guess like I wish I could have done that because I always liked the idea of like the historical romance too. I'm a sucker for them. I'm a sucker for like the Highland time travel romances as well. So like being able to do book covers like that, I think would be also really cool for me.
Cool.
So I guess of the recent ones that I've read, it would be like the Bridgerton novels. I would have loved to have done the covers for those.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think all of them now are going to be getting facelifts because the series is like, oh my gosh. I mean, some of these books are like 10 years old, and they're now, they've been on the bestseller list for weeks, thanks to the power of Netflix. I think it's so great because people are now, returning to books, and I love her. She always makes me giggle. I get the warm feels and the humor. Oh, Madison has a question. Are there specific colors that sell better or worse than others? I have heard, and I could be wrong, Ariel, I've heard that blue is a good color.
Blue is a good color. That's also a loaded question.
All right, Madison.
So there is no one all fits answer here because different genres and different colors go together. So UF is kind of my genre, just that's what I write in personally too, so that's what I pay the most attention to. But colors right now for UF tend to be, the darker colors, so blacks, deep blues, deep purples, even kind of like the greens and things like that.
Right. And UF, for people that don't know, is?
Urban fantasy.
Okay.
And romance, like the contemporary romances tend to be a lot of the more pastels or kind of, I don't want to say like vibrant colors, but like kind of a little bit darker than pastels, things like that.
Well, sure. That makes sense because you're trying to have that kind of evocative sense. You don't want to be too soft, but I would guess that like sweeter romance might have softer colors. Yeah. I went to a seminar. I wanted to pick your brain on this, or I did one of those online seminars, and she was talking about new trends in covers, and she said that couple covers were on their way out, but I have seen, no evidence of that whatsoever. And I don't know if she's like thinking ahead, but it seems to me that the tried and true, the shirtless guy, for paranormal especially, or the couples still seem to be pretty predominant.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really seen a trend stepping away from it other than maybe because like social media, the shirtless man cover gets a lot of flack on social media. So that could be a reason why maybe some people think we're stepping away from it. But then again, like I said, I haven't really seen like that trending away from it. So
yeah, I know. And I think a lot of it is, like I have a series out right now that I feel pretty certain you did not do the covers. Otherwise we wouldn't be having this problem. I feel pretty certain that part of it is the covers just don't quite get across the story, So I do think it's really important. It shouldn't be about, whether or not something's trendy, as if it conveys the story, right?
Yes.
Oh, I had a question for you, and it totally went out. I should have written it down. Oh, it'll come back. That was what it was. I have heard the whole illustrated cover. a lot of people, that's been really big recently, but it started out as kind of rom-com, and now there have been some not rom-com-y books that have been getting the illustrated cover, and people were not happy, right? Because they thought they were getting, so what's your take on an illustrated cover?
I guess it's, oh gosh, another loaded question. So I think
you can say, go for it.
I think in the past I would have said that it was definitely more of like the rom-com genre specific. However, like you said, it has been branching out, and I think there's almost a different kind of illustrated style for each genre.
That's true.
So like YA is kind of getting its own style. YA fantasy versus like YA fiction itself. Like the fantasy subset is definitely getting like a really different kind of illustrated cover as well now too lately. So it's like, vines or jagged vines, like kind of like that design versus like people or something like that, which I think is YA fiction specific, or even in a completely different kind of like people illustrated style for like contemporary romance.
Yes. Jolene says historical should not be a cartoon cover. LOL. You know what, Jolene? Though there was one recently. I'll have to find it and throw the link up in here. It actually was pretty cute, and it was a historical, but you could see that it was kind of playful. It almost looked like one of the old-fashioned Charles Perrault fairy tale covers, but it was all profile, so it wasn't like you saw faces or anything. But it was kind of fun. It made me curious. It wasn't something I would immediately have snatched up because I'm kind of picky about my historicals. I tend to stay with the same authors, which I know is really, really bad. I should be reading everybody. But that one almost made me immediately one click. And it was illustrated. So, and it was, which I guess was, kind of different, but it worked. Oh, and Terry is on saying Berkeley is doing illustrated covers for historicals. Maybe it was Berkeley. I'll have to see if I can find it because it was eye-catchingly cute. But I will have to say, if I hadn't actually read it, I wouldn't have automatically assumed it was a romance because I would have thought maybe more fairy tale, but it worked. Again, I think it's just, how effective it gets across the vibe of the book. Yeah, is there an author that you wish you could cover specifically, like be their custom designer? Again, just let me push you out there, Ariel. Guys, I did not prep her at all. You can probably tell she's struggling here. I'm just kind of throwing stuff at her.
Yeah. I guess Patricia Briggs. So I'm like in love with her Mercy Thompson books.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And she's such a big name. So like just even from a business standpoint, being able to say like I designed that book for her, amazing. But even just being able to design it for Mercy would be like spectacular.
She's such a badass. If you guys love paranormal and you haven't read her, you need to pick her up immediately. Amazing, super steamy, but gritty. I mean, she just balances it so well. Shape-shifting paranormals. Well worth it. Okay, I can see that. So you write urban fantasy. Tell us, a spin. Are you working on getting published? Are you going to self-pub? What's the deal? Spill.
Oh goodness. Well, I've been working on it for years. So, kind of when I first started, I did want to be traditionally published. So I would like to, when I do eventually finish, like to query and kind of go through that process and see if I can do it. But I'm not married to the idea either. So if it doesn't turn out, I would be more than okay with doing self-publishing as well.
I think that is a great attitude to have. I do. And I think that self-publishing really can give you the freedom to do things that, because like we were talking about trending, right? So for some reason, the publishing houses will get kind of stuck on a certain idea and not be willing to take a chance on something. But readers don't care. Readers are open-minded. They don't need to, because the one thing that somebody has repeatedly said to me over and over again, it was one of my agents, and I could see what she said as soon as she said it. She's like, where would you put your book on the shelf? And some of the stuff I write, it's like, that's not an easy answer, right? Because it's kind of fantasy, but it's kind of romance, but it's not kind of romance because the ending isn't exactly happy. So Yeah, and I get why they want to be able to do that. They want to be able to, put a bow on it and say, yes, it goes right here, and boom, they have the whole strategy. But I think if you're open to every option, you're more likely to just not stress, for one thing, and you'll have unlimited potential for success. It is where you come into play in your other life as a virtual assistant, because I will tell you now. I'm starting to do some more self-pub, and yeah, I think that I can see a virtual assistant in my future. Let me put it that way, because the business aspect of it. I mean, I'm sure you've done some digging there. So when you do stuff for authors, what do you normally do? What are your duties?
Let's see. So I do a lot of social media copy. So I'll write their posts out. I've done a little bit of graphic design for their posts as well. Right now, I work with a YA author who had me working on her education guides for the schools, so that when so that when she wants to have a school teach her book, they have this education guide of like journaling questions they can ask their class, and things like that. I do a lot of outreach as well. So if they want to send their books to book reviewers and things like that, I'm gather the emails, I do the emails to them, kind of do the correspondence, things like that. Lately, I also broke into TikTok for authors. So I made like a mood board TikTok for their book and posted it and things like that. Yeah.
See, and that's a whole area. I mean, I've never even thought about that. And that's another avenue for marketing. So good on you, girl. So you made a video of the book itself, like a storyboard or?
Kind of. So she had me do mood boards for the characters. So it was just like a collection of pictures that kind of resonated with the character, and then the romance that the two characters have. Okay. And then just kind of included like a bit of her book in the first part of it, and just, the captioning and things like that.
So do you have to read the books that you're promoting, or do they just kind of give you kind of a at a glance thing?
I usually get an at a glance thing. However, I do buy the books. And her books just showed up for me, so I'll be reading those to actually know what I'm talking about more than a quick Google search. And that's because that's what I generally do, is I'll read like reviews, or I'll read their blurbs and just kind of get a feel for the book until I can get my hands on the books.
Sure. Well, and I imagine, that reading an entire book can sometimes take a bit of time. So there's that as well. So now, as far as marketing, if we're going to stick with your virtual assistant side for a minute, what do you feel? Because there's many camps again in the indie world as far as what is worth your time and investment. What do you think about newsletters? Are you a newsletter girl or eh?
I am a newsletter girl. So the way I look at it is, we've had Instagram specifically go down several times in the past couple of years. And where does that leave you? You can't get a hold of anybody, anything like that. So having a newsletter and having these subscribers that you can directly email, be in their inbox, is, I think, a really valuable thing, because you're not going to, if you can't reach them on Instagram, then how are you going to sell to them?
Sure.
That's just an example. Facebook could go down, TikTok could go down, like all these things could go down, but at least you have this direct line straight into their inbox.
No, that makes perfect sense. I'm terrible at newsletters, so I was actually hoping you were going to say, oh no, they're a waste of time. Oh, Ariel, foiled.
But that's just one way of looking at it. And another important thing to think of too is it worth your time as well? Is there something that would work better for you and your followers and readers? Because I know that there are people that aren't going to read the emails no matter how much time you spend on it.
Right.
So I think it's good to have it maybe as a backup if it's not necessarily worth your time at the present.
Yeah.
Because that way, if Instagram or something, whatever goes down, you can still get to them.
Well, and I've heard similar, because I guess Facebook's going to be doing some changes and stuff. And so they're talking about trying to make things as, proprietary for yourself as possible, so that you own that own real estate, and trying to tie it more into your website. So that it does make sense. Oh, wait, we got a couple of comments, and then I'm going to ask you another question. Let's see. Louise says hi. Hi. Terry says, the author at Berkeley, I was trying to think of Evie Denmore, cartoony historical covers. I bet that is the one, Terry, that I was thinking of. Louise says, hi, Terry. Oh, Cody Signs often says, I love newsletters. I spend my Sunday morning reading all the newsletters I received over the week. If I like an author, I always want to sign up for their newsletter. Now I'm ashamed. Okay, fine. I'm going to have to do a newsletter. Man. No, and I know, and I've heard that. I've heard that newsletters are the thing. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's one thing to talk about books all day long. And like, I love this. I love talking to people, you know, and interacting. It's like a conversation. But the newsletter, I don't know. I don't know why I feel so awkward about it. I have to work on it. Yeah, because Louise says, I love newsletters and see what's coming out next. So there you go. So I guess for you and everybody else who's on, what is the, how often do you want to hear from an author? Once a month? Once a week? Just when they have something new coming out or something big's coming? What do you think?
Again, it kind of depends on the audience. I sit down and read all of the newsletters that I get, and I get newsletters from all kinds of genres and things like that. And some of them will do bi-weekly, some of them will do once a month, some of them do once a quarter too. And it sort of depends, I guess, on what you have to say.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of things happening all at once, then maybe a little bit more than once a month is probably best, because you don't want to you know, have this long email that they're not going to read and get to the bottom to.
No, I totally agree. Oh, Cody says weekly. Wow, Cody, you're just making me feel even worse. No, I'm kidding. I know I need to do it. I do. And I've been collecting emails. It's just, you know, the doing part of it. And Louise is once a month. Okay. I think I can do that. I think I could do once a month. I do. So as far as, platforms, you mentioned Instagram. Is there a platform that you think is most book and / reader friendly? Is that the one you would pick? I know that's not a straightforward, but I know a lot of it has to do with like age breakdown too, you know, but oh, Jolene, thank you, Jolene. I love you. She says managing a newsletter is very scary. See, Jolene gets me.
It definitely is. I totally agree. Going back to the question, I guess right now, I think YouTube with BookTube, Book Talk on TikTok, and then Bookstagram are all really, really popular.
Yeah.
And I think those are the easiest ways of kind of having like a casual conversation with your readers. Facebook tends to be a little bit more formal, I feel like, unless you're doing reader groups, in which that's definitely more casual, but just a regular Facebook.
Yeah.
And then Twitter to me reads more of writers with writers and versus writers with readers. So
yeah, I am not a big Twitter fan. I've tried. I really have tried. But I don't, first, obviously, I'm not very concise. I ramble, and that doesn't work on Twitter. And there can be a lot of just negativity. And I don't know if it's purely because you're having to be more succinct that it comes across maybe a little more negative, because I tend to read things with the tone of voice. And sometimes I'll like automatically narrate it like, oh, they're so mad. So it's probably me. But Terry says, I love Instagram. Cody says, I love authors on Twitter. And Lori says, hello, Lori. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's kind of like different people prefer different outlets. So do you think that an author should be represented on all? What do you think are the essential platforms?
I think depending on your genre, you should go to the platform where your readers are. Okay. So definitely, and I keep going back to this just because this is what I've been working with lately, Instagram and TikTok are definitely more of like YA in the younger generation. So if that's what you're writing, you should be there.
Sure.
And obviously, you can, of course, be on all the other ones, but maybe you don't have to put as much effort into them as you would those ones that your readers are actually on.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Because I'm like, I try to be on Twitter, but it's literally like in the morning and I'm closing my eyes and I do it and I just hit send and I'm like, you know, I have no idea if anybody ever responds. I love Instagram. It's one of those things that I could totally go down the rabbit hole and just stay there and like people's pictures all day long. Oh, Terry said, please don't make me do TikTok.
you get an author assistant. They do it
Yes,
for you.
see? Ooh, good sales pitch, Ariel. Yes. No, I would have no idea how to do TikTok, but I know it's huge. It right now is like the thing. And it does make sense. So do you think though that someone who's writing like a non-YA, that TikTok is a good investment of time, or should they stick with like IG and Facebook?
I would definitely say like your YAs, like you said, is more of the TikTok. Different genres. So I would say like romance and stuff like that tend to do a lot better on Instagram.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where I would be for it.
Okay, Terry, we might be in the
Yes.
clear. We
Yes.
might be in the clear. That means we are not writing any YA anytime soon, which is okay, except I'm supposed to write another YA eventually here. So, I'll have to, I might be hitting you up, Ariel, because I have no clue on TikTok. None. Okay, so let me see. We had a couple of other questions just about that they emailed me about what book was going to be redone, and then if I would read the blurbs. I'm going to read the blurbs really quick because those blurbs haven't changed. Oh my gosh, I have my camera on mirror and I keep sweeping my hair across the wrong way, so sorry. Okay, so Hollywood Ever After, first book I ever wrote and published, so it's super cool for it to be young and beautiful and all made over again. It says, happy endings are for fairy tales or the movies, not for real life, at least not Claire's life. Even though she's starting over, she knows better than to want too much this time. But when she falls, literally, into the strong arms of Hollywood's it boy, Josh Wiley, Claire's in for some surprises. Her plans for rest and relaxation are forgotten as one incredible night with Josh becomes two, and her heart begins to want him as much as her body. Will two kids, one bastard ex-husband, and Josh's juggernaut career mean the end of their affair? Or can Claire find her happy ending after all? Okay, I love this book. I'm sorry, I was like remembering all of it's because it's been a while. I haven't read it in a while. So I'm so excited. So and I'm gonna do a super close up because I love this picture because first he kind of looks like Josh Duhamel to me. Did you think he looks kind of like Josh Duhamel? Oh my God, it's so pretty. And to me, she does look older than him. And that was a big deal because she's like 7 years older than him in the book. So let me see if I can get as close as I can. Does he not look like Josh Duhamel? Seriously? I think he totally does. Anyways, so excited about that. And then, so Ariel did some amazing magic on book 2. So book 2 is Hollywood Holiday. I'm going to read the blurb and then I'll tell you what she did. All she wants for Christmas is for Hollywood to love her again. But once she meets him, her Christmas list changes. Jen's only Christmas wish, Hollywood falling back in love with her, meaning ex-Marine Gunner was a bonus. She likes that he isn't impressed by celebrities or the movie biz. She likes that he's funny and sweet and drop-dead gorgeous. And she loves that he has no idea who her alter ego is, Jen Fleming. Hollywood bad girl and paparazzi target number 1. Why ruin an amazing affair when he's leaving after the new year? But the closer they get, the harder she falls, and the more she wants to tell Gunner everything, especially once he shares his secret with her. Her new Christmas wish, Gunner accepts and loves her for who she really is. This is also, I just love the series, whatever. But, so this, Ariel, I'm going to show the cover and you get to tell them what magic you did for this one. So, okay, there we go.
And so for this one, the woman is actually a blonde in the picture. So I went in and I edited her hair to have this sort of fiery red color to it.
Isn't it beautiful? It looks, I mean, you can't tell. I love and the color and the light behind it. It's, I don't know. All of these to me were so perfect. And yeah, Gunner, Jillian says, I love Gunner. Me too. He's so hot. Okay. And then the last one, which it's funny. I'm writing a series right now where I have to write songs for the book, or you don't have to, but I just feel like if you're writing about singers, you should write songs, right? I forgot that in this book, the heroine just off, for fun stuff on the weekend, she goes and sings. And I wrote my very first song ever for a book was in this book. So not in the King series. Okay. Makeup artist to the stars, the favorite aunt, dance teacher, baby sister, talented musician and songwriter, single. Why did that word rank above the rest? Helen loved her family and understood they wanted her to have the real love they'd all found. It's just that she'd found her someone special and learned to live without him. She'd been too young for the quirky, idealistic doctor, off to save the world, to notice. And really, if she had it her way, he'd never know how she felt. Now he was one of her best friends, a pen pal. Losing him would be too much. Seeing him at their parents' wedding, Helen realizes the horrible truth. She still loves Joseph, which wouldn't be so bad if she wasn't in the situation she was in. But she was, and her secret will change everything. Will it destroy hope for a Hollywood happy ending too? This picture, I think, is perfect. This picture, I swear, is this couple. So let me see if I can get it up there again. I love everything about this picture because Helen is like this really sweet, full of life character, and Joseph is kind of this world weary, Doctor Without Borders character. So I don't know. I just feel like you just made the books, I don't know, come to life again in a new way, but really started to tell the story before they ever opened the book. So thank you for that. I'm excited.
Yeah, it was a fun project.
Yeah, I think, and then like I said, we have, gosh, how many other covers did you do for me? 4? 5?
I think 4 or 5.
Yes.
And there was some more, I think, that we didn't get to
we
yet.
Didn't get to,
put it on the back burner.
Yes, see, and I'm doing my hair the wrong way again. And it's amazing because this was a concept that I thought would be really fun, and I do want to get back to it. I'm not going to talk about it now because it's not there, and we want to keep our focus on this one. Jolene says, like she said, I love dinner. She says, this is such a great story. Some of those scenes are still in my head. Me too. Oh, that's a good question. What's the last book that you read where a scene has like stayed with you? Or doesn't even have to be the last one. What's one that, you still remember?
Goodness. So I'm going to harp on it. The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. I completely fell in love with the book, and there's so many scenes from that book that I still think about. It's already been a couple of weeks.
Okay, so now we have to read this because you've mentioned this book several times, so it made a big impression on you.
Yeah. It's almost, I don't even know how to explain it. There's a little bit of a plot, but it really is mostly just about this girl and her invisible life. And just the style of the way it was written and the word choices and the scenes that were chosen to be in the book really stood out to me. So.
Oh, cool. So can you give us like a brief bit on it?
Yeah, so it follows this young woman named Addie Larue, and she grows up in old-time Paris. I don't know the exact date, but I think it's like the 1800s or something like that. And she's sort of this wild child. She doesn't want to live the life that normal women do at that time, and she's almost forced to marry, but she ends up making a deal with these old gods, so the god of the night and darkness, and she makes this deal, and she lives this life where nobody remembers her after they look away from her. And so it was all about having this life of freedom where nobody tells her what to do, all this stuff. And it's the double-edged sword of, well, there's nobody's going to remember you to tell you what to do.
Oh.
Yeah, so,
but it's very interesting.
It has a dark ending.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I actually love, yes, when I'm reading romance, I want a happy ending, but I'm okay when I'm not reading romance to not have a pretty bow on top kind of situation. Yeah, sometimes you need those.
There's romance in it, but it is not what I would call a romance story.
Gotcha. Okay. So, well, still sounds like something worth reading. I'm just going to say that.
I know this is a romance chat, but...
Well, okay, so Ariel, you're going to put your contact information in the comments for all the authors popped on tonight or will come in later, making a sad face. She doesn't like unhappy book endings at all.
I know.
She's just forgiven me, though, and she still loves me over Medusa, don't you, Jolene? Anyways, so put your stuff up there so that please, anybody that watches now or comes back and visits, they can reach out to you to book your services. How do you have availability?
I do. So, I have room for a client.
Excellent. Okay. Oh, Cody just said it's in my TBR file. Came highly recommended from a bookseller friend of mine. So there you go. Okay. Gonna have to get it. Thank you so much for coming and talking and letting me gush over your covers, and
thank you
just
for
loving
having
them
me.
so much.
Thank you for letting me work on them. It was a treat, and I'm so excited. As soon as they are released, I'm getting physical copies to have.
Definitely.
Myself, so.
Definitely. And I have more. You don't even want to know. Oh, thank you. Jolene said yes, and I love Medusa. You don't even want to know how many book ideas I have. Just throwing that out at you. So we will be working together again in the future. Don't worry. But thank you for tonight, and thank you for my beautiful new books. I'm so excited. So,
I'm so
I think I can get you set up with some copies when they come in.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for coming in and visiting and chatting with us. And Ariel is going to put her info up, and then when the books are actually up for pre-order, I will make sure to put that information out there too. All right. We'll see you later, lady.